Hello, Green Team. We are on our sixth and final part of conducting a home search. Today, we will be talking about the following up of showings. So, just like everything in real estate, the fortune is in the follow up. So, we're going to learn how to do the follow up right when we're conducting a home search. First step is talking with buyers. So, kind of in this scenario today, we're talking about you've shown a couple houses to some people, maybe showed three houses to them yesterday. You got their feedback as you went through the day, but you guys agreed that you'd give them the night to kind of sleep on it, and then tomorrow you'd call them to follow up. So this is the talking with buyers section that we're talking about first. So what do we want to talk to them about? So first off, we want their overall thoughts. People love to give their opinions, thoughts on houses. It's a very popular thing to do. They've got entire TV channels devoted to it. So ask them their overall thoughts. Get their thoughts on what they like, didn't like, maybe a comparison between the different properties of what they liked best. And then you're going to ask them if they have additional questions on any of the properties. Now, this is where it gets tough because they're definitely going to have additional questions. And sometimes you can go down a real rabbit hole of we want to know the exact date that septic system was put in, or we need a map that shows exactly where the water line runs in front of the house, something like that. And so you want to kind of figure out what questions you can answer and which ones you can't. So some stuff you're going to just, hey, I'm happy to ask the listing agent that. Just keep in mind they may not know that. It's something they may not know, but I'll definitely pass along the question and let you know what they say. So we're going to make a list of their questions. We're going to try to get them all at once so they don't ask one question now, one question 20 minutes from now, one question 2 hours from now. So we're not blowing up the other realtor's phone asking all these questions. We want to kind of get a nice, concise list of any other additional questions they have about the property. And then we're going to ask for the offer. We're always going to close on these phone calls. We're going to say the same line we talked about in the last video or a couple videos ago. We're going to say, what would keep you from making an offer on this property? Okay, we looked at these three houses. This one's definitely your favorite. You loved everything about it. What would keep you from making an offer on that property? And they might say something like, we think we want to make an offer. We just would like to have this one little piece of information, right? So we just want to know if there's sprinkler in the front and the backyard, something like that. Or if whatever, what year the roof was put on, who knows what it is. So you're going to say, great, let's start on that process and I'll send the question over so we can be ready once we get that answer. We can have the offer ready to go. It gives you an opportunity to kind of start that closing process. Again, this is not in an effort to be a pushy salesman and push people into something they don't want to do. It's to help people when they want to make an offer and want to do it. We're trying to take out some of those obstacles that they may be facing, which maybe they don't really even understand what the next step is. And we're telling them, hey, the next step is to write an offer, and we're going to help you with that. So that's what talking with the buyers is. So when we're talking with buyers and we're going to get their feedback on each of the properties, you're going to get emails like this when you show a property through Showing Assist. Automatically generated emails are going to say feedback requested. It'll look just like this with the appointment details of when you showed the house. And then please give us feedback. So you click this blue button, give feedback. On this one, I've already completed the feedback, so you won't see what I've done. But there will be some boxes that say, please rate your overall experience with the listing 1 through 5. So you can mark that. Please give any feedback, any notes, likes, dislikes. People will have their questions set up differently, but you just want to answer those questions as well as you can to give the listing realtor a fair amount of feedback, but you don't want to disclose any motivating factors. So you don't want to say something like they think they want to make an offer, but they're so maybe the opposite way. So they love this house. It's the best house in the world for them. It's the only house they've found with this, this, and this. So it's kind of the perfect spot for them. We don't want to say something like that because it puts our buyers in a negative negotiating position. So just make sure in that feedback, we're not giving any motivating factors. We want to be honest and nice about our feedback. So no need to just be like, hey, this house sucked. It was terrible. Everything was wrong with it. I don't know why they didn't clean up more. Just unnecessary to do that. We want to be honest about it. You can say something like the condition wasn't really what the buyers were looking for. The condition of the property wasn't really what the buyers were looking for, something like that. It's just kind of a nice way to be honest about it. We definitely want to be honest, but there's no need to create an enemy by giving some listing feedback. And we want to do this within 24 hours of our showing. We always give feedback within 24 hours because that's what we expect when we're the listing agent. We want buyers giving us feedback within 24 hours so that we can pass that on to our clients, the sellers. So then the next thing, say we've got this feedback, our buyers don't really want to write an offer on that property, but they did kind of disclose as you were going through it, they had something that you didn't realize when you were searching a house, like, hey, they really do need a dining room. I didn't realize that when I was setting up the search, or they decided they really need a true fourth bedroom. It can't just be an office. They need a bedroom that actually has a closet for that fourth spot, which they didn't really tell me ahead of time. So I need to update my search. So I'm just going to real quick go into my Weichert and pretend like I'm working on one of these with a potential buyer. And I'm just going to go in to my sample test guy here and look at my alerts. So I've got this alert set up, and let's just say, okay, originally they didn't say they cared how many bedrooms there were, but clearly now it's got to be 4+. So I'm going to update it, and I can do the same thing with save and send. Or I can just click update alert, which will just update as new stuff comes in, or I can save and send, which will send updated new info. So now it went from 37 to 14 that it sent them ahead of time, and then it's going to update based off of this new info. So we always want to make sure that we've got their search alert set up, customized for them, that makes sense for our specific buyers. Another thing you can ask them in this phone call when you're following up with them, are you getting the properties that you're wanting to get? Is there anything I need to change on it? We want to keep it updated because we're trying to be efficient about this. We want to send them the stuff they need so they're not looking through 800 houses they don't want. We want them looking through the 8 houses that they really might want, so that there's a chance they'll actually find what they're looking for. Make sure you keep these search alerts set up. You saw how fast I did that. It took like, I don't know, 20 seconds maybe from going into my Weichert and actually updating that search alert. So make sure you're doing that and you're staying on top of it for each of your clients. So then let's walk through the other option. Maybe during this phone call, they said, you know what, we are ready to make an offer. What's the next step? Well, we need to tell them that's fantastic news. Here's the next step. I need to grab this info from you so I can write up the offer and you guys can review it to sign. So what I need are the names that you would like to take title in. For instance, sometimes someone goes by John Smith and his full name is Jonathan Smith. So you need the actual full legal name. Sometimes John Smith owns a company called Smith Properties LLC, and that's what he wants to put the property under. So you need the name of the LLC that he's taking title in. So when we ask for this, we say, what are the names that you guys want to take title in? And that means what's the official name you want the title to say for this property. The next thing is you're going to need to know the purchase price. You're going to know what they're offering. How much are they offering to purchase the house? Pretty simple one. Earnest money. We always recommend a minimum of 1% down on every property. This earnest money goes to show the seller that we have a serious buyer that's willing to put down this 1%. So on a $250,000 house, they're putting down $2,500 as earnest money to basically show how serious they are in order to get the seller to pull their property off the market to allow the buyer to conduct their inspections. So that's what the whole purpose of earnest money is. It can either be held at the listing realtors company, the selling realtors company, or a title company. But that money is held in escrow as a good faith measure from the buyer to get the seller to take their property off the market for at least the inspection period. And then we are going to ask for their closing date. So how soon they want to close. We're usually going to recommend about 45 days. And you'll adjust this based off of what you're seeing in the market, and we'll keep you updated. But if it's a cash closing, you can do as soon as maybe 20 days. And keep in mind when you're setting the closing date, and what we want to communicate is when we're setting the closing date on an offer, it's an on or before date. So if we set it for 60 days out, everyone's ready to close 45 days out. It's pretty easy to get that moved up. We can get everybody on the same page and get that moved up if we're all ready. What's harder to do is to extend it past that date. So if I try to set up a really good offer and say, hey, we're going to close in 2 weeks, even though I know it's going to take 45 days. I've got to go back in 2 weeks and somehow get the seller to agree to move that back to that 45-day mark. Much harder to move it back than to move it forward. Next, I need financing info. And financing info means I need to know what type of loan they're getting. I need to know that percentage down that they're paying, and I need a pre-approval letter from their lender. Of course, if it's a cash deal, there's no financing info. I just need to know it's cash, and we'll need a proof of funds. But if there is a loan going to be attached to it, I need the pre-approval, the type of loan, and the down payment so that I can fill out the offer documents. And then last but not least, I got to know the inclusions and exclusions. So I need to know if they want to keep a fridge, a stove. A stove would normally stay with the property. I shouldn't have said that. If they want to keep a fridge, maybe a washer and dryer, curtains, who knows? I need to know what's staying and what's going, and I'm going to check the MLS sheet to make sure if the seller listed anything as staying or going specifically, that it matches with their list so that I can put it in the offer. We always want all those inclusions and exclusions specifically listed in the offer so that there's no confusion on any side from the very get-go. We know exactly what's staying with the house and what's going. And then the last thing, so maybe I wrote this offer and that's great, but those two other houses I showed were really cool houses and they might work for someone else that I have. So always be thinking about how can I turn this into additional transactions down the road and provide value to my other clients. So let's say one of these other houses just seemed like a really good one, maybe for my guy's sample test. So if I go into listings here, and I'm just going to grab a random one. Let's just say that this was, I'm going to grab, it doesn't matter, but I'm still picking. This one over in El Reno was just perfect for my guy's sample test, let's say. So what I want to do is say, I liked that property a lot. So what I want to do is just go through maybe beyond sample test. Maybe I even have more people that in my system that would work for. So let me find a different one because I want to find like a Norman one that might actually have some so you guys can see this. Or maybe an Oklahoma City one that could work. Let's just try this one. So I can go into this listing. Let's say this is one of the other two I showed and I really thought it was a good house. I can click matching buyers. This is actually going to check my whole CRM and say, hey, these other people that you have might make sense for sending this property to. So boom, I got 4. This one's blank for some reason, but I got 4 potential people that these could go to. So I can just click on it and send a mass email and I can say, hey, I just actually checked out this property today. Seems like it might be a good fit for you. Let me know what you think and if you maybe want to go see it. I'll send that mass email out to all those 4 people there. And boom, I'm actually turning my experience into additional value for my other clients. And then beyond maybe writing up an offer on one property, I can get the property out to additional people. So always be thinking about how you can leverage your time so that you can get more efficiency and more value for every minute you're spending doing this job. This concludes our series on conducting a home search. So we have taken you from the point that you got the phone call in of someone interested in a property all the way to the point of gathering the info for an offer. There's a whole series on writing an offer, which is kind of the next steps in this situation of actually how to take that information you got from the buyers and put it into an offer format to get signed and get under contract. Hopefully this helps you guys with conducting a home search. This will probably be one of the first things you do in real estate in terms of your own business is taking a lead and turning it into a buyer, hopefully. So these should take you through those steps. As you do it, the more you do it, the better you'll get at it. Thanks, and I'll see you guys in the next Green Team series.